What are some of the things that will be keys when y'all face the Commanders on Sunday?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things, we got to stop the run. That's any week. Being able to create, pass downs and letting our guys up front get to work. But obviously we got to make sure we're, rushing and covering as one. We don't matter who's the quarterback, whether it's Mariota or Daniels. They both have amazing talent with being able to extend plays. So on the back end, we got to make sure we're defending the first play and then the second play as well. So excited for the challenge for sure.
Y'all call that plaster rules or scramble rules, or what do y'all call it?
Yeah, we call it plaster rules. First play, second play, get to your man. If we're in zone, get to the guys closest, in your zone, match up with them. So yeah, plaster rules.
Do you recall playing in a similar game to Sunday where it just seemed like no matter what you guys did, nothing was really going your way?
No, I would say that's probably the first time that, on every phase, things weren't going our way. I think this the new kickoff and stuff like that is definitely a big part of it as well. Obviously, it had a huge impact on our game, but across the league, you kind of see it. I think the Rams and the Eagles, they had like 4 of them where, they're back there fumbling the ball, and then the field position is, messed up for the Eagles. But luckily, they went out there and got 2 blocked field goals, and that's just something that we didn't do as a defensive core group. You're gonna have games like that where your offense is struggling or the special teams is struggling, but your defense has to create a turnover, create a momentum like play. Like I feel like that 4th and 3, I think the very first drive was a play that I wish I could have back, just because that really could have changed the momentum of that game early. So, that we'll move on. Obviously, that wasn't our standard of play, but we'll move on, and it's still early for sure.
How do you, as a leader, kind of like, because especially on the defense, there's a lot of young players who are playing. How do you make sure like that game ends in that game, and then y'all understand what happened, but also move on and forget about it?
Yeah, it's big time, especially as guys that, are leaders on this team. We got a lot of young guys as well. That type of game sometimes can, force guys to start pointing fingers and stuff like that. But I think overall we kind of know that that's not our style of play. And you got people taking accountability of that. You got Mike walking up to the defensive guys like, hey, I got to be better for y'all. So it's just as bad as it was, I think it's good for us to come together as a team a little bit as well, being able to, take ownership in that and letting people know that this game can humble you really fast. I thought we set a great standard for the first 2 weeks of what we want to be, and then you go out there and do something like that. You gotta stay on it. We're not doing a lot of stuff, offensive, defense, special teams, but you can't get bored with the details, and it's hard to win this league. So can't lose key of that.
Did Mike do that during the game, or was that this week when he came?
Yeah, it was actually both. It was encouraging to see those guys keep on talking to us. Like I said, you see fights on the sidelines nowadays. Maybe we needed that a little bit, but I thought it was a good job of, our defensive guys, not pointing the fingers at the offense, anything like that. So solid.
You said this game will humble you. I know it's not your side of the ball, but when you see a coach dismissed this early on, what does that say to a locker room?
Yeah, that's part of our business, unfortunately. When you're not playing well or you're not winning games that you want to win, ultimately, whether it's during the season, whether it's after the season, people lose their jobs. And that's unfortunate because the type of, coach and person that Ike was, he was a positive, influence to this locker room, being a former player, playing at a high level. But, it's part of this game. I think that's what we always say. We sign up for this type of stuff that comes with this game, and hopefully that that sparks some type of energy into our locker room as well, and not let it just be a negative thing.
And then as a veteran leader, what do you say to the guys in that room?
Yeah, guys in the defensive room, obviously, you kind of see the sense of urgency. Like, there's no playing around. Like, there's people lose their jobs. As players, it's our jobs to go out there and play for our coaches. And if things aren't going well, we're not executing things at the high level that we know we're capable of. That happens. And having young guys on our defensive side, like, it was a little eye-opening for those guys to see that, but hopefully they understand the seriousness of, like, how this operation, how this business goes. So I think, like I said, I think it'll make us closer, though.
Just a week ago, we were talking about turning the page after a big win. Now we're talking about turning a page after a big loss. Is there a difference between the two?
Yeah, obviously you feel a little better after a win, but either way it goes, you always kind of look for, the turning points of the game where you could have been better. You also point out the good things as well. I thought there was some good things that we did, defensively, quick turnarounds. We were forcing, field goals, slowly trying to get us back in the game, but we just couldn't respond. And I think that's just something that you learn from experience. You don't learn that from the practice field or anything like that. You have to go through that type of stuff to learn from. So, yeah, there's stuff that you can learn from, whether you win, lose, draw, whatever it is. You just got to be critical. You got to be being able to want to learn and want to know what was going on and what didn't go right. So, yeah.
With their a couple of their receivers might be down, I guess, but they still got Debo. What do you see, or how they using him in their offense?
Yeah, Debo, he's a returner, he's a running back, slot receiver, all the above. They're doing a really good job of moving him around. Even with some of these, check downs to him, he's getting 10-plus yards. So just got to be critical where he's at all times. He's really good, obviously, when he has his hands on the ball. A very good catch and run type of guy. So gotta rally and tackle that guy as well. So he's a bigger cat, and like I said, he's more of a running back type of body style that we got to be prepared for.
And Little McCaffrey, I guess, I guess he had some plays in the last game.
Mm-hmm.
One of the receivers that might.
Yeah, he's one of the explosive receivers that he's had success, and they're starting to use him a little bit more. But that's part of stopping the run first, and then taking care of the pass game. Those guys extend plays very, very often, so just got to be keyed in on that.
All right, I'll start it off. Just to recap from last week quickly. The first drive, we get down there. We got to do a better job of executing. We get down there. We got to put those points on the board. That missed field goal led to our defense playing on a little bit shorter field, giving Carolina a shorter field to work with. They go up 7-0, and then we get the ball. We go down. Great job by our punt team and Bradley and DeMarcco to create that field position for us on the punt with the muff punt and us recovering it, which led to the next opportunity, a 55-yarder, I believe. So those opportunities, in the first quarter, those are our only two opportunities to put points on the board as a field goal unit. We got to make sure we capitalize with that. And just, Romo doing his job and making sure that he's clean with his contact and his tempo to the ball so we can put that ball through the uprights. We expect him when we put him out there to do that. And then we had the 2-1 returns with the knuckleballs, which we had to do a better job of executing that. Going into the game, we knew that was going to be one of the keys for us was securing the ball and winning our blocks. And we secured the ball, but it wasn't as clean as we wanted it to be, especially with the two of them that we ended up with the field position at the 10-yard line. So those are things that we got to continue to clean up. That was disappointing to see that, but I look forward to those guys being able to rise up to the challenge this week versus a great Washington team that we're going against. So I'll open it up to any questions.
Coach, how has the competition been thus far with Ben Sauls and Romo this week?
It's been really good. We have another week of field goal, another day of field goal to continue to evaluate that process. But both those guys are putting their best foot forward, making good contact on the ball. It's a pleasure to have Ben in the building, seeing him work and go about his business. He was here for the workout that we had like 2 weeks ago. So the guys are doing good.
And the returns, how do you practice for those? If you know, it's been league wide.
Yeah.
You know, people are learning how to handle this.
Yeah.
But how do y'all just give them different kind of things to work on with that?
Yes, sir. So we work on that each and every week. Those are things that we work on each and every week. You know, as a returner, you go out and you catch balls off the jugs, off the foot, but then you work on those knuckleballs. That was something that came into play last year. I think one of the first times we really got one of those type of balls was versus the Raiders Monday night, I think. And the first kickoff was a minor touchback, but then the next one, our guys did just stay disciplined with their alignment, their assignment, their technique, and we ended up turning that to like a 40-yard return, I believe, ran up the middle at the beginning of the second half. So those are things, no matter, there's going to be times they hit compliments to Carolina. They had some really good balls when it came to those knuckleballs. We just have to be urgent, be detailed, and stick to our fundamentals and stick to our alignments to go field those. If it's off the one hop, if it's off in the air, catching it, and just making sure we secure it and then get vertical. There's going to be times where they hit some good balls, and it's hats off to them. But we got to be clean and be disciplined with our details and our alignment.
Was that kind of an example of, you guys have Agnew and he's really good at what he does as a returner, not having him and having other guys step up? Is that kind of the perils of that, and not having your main guy?
I mean, that happens, but whoever we put out there, we expect for them to execute and secure the football and get vertical with it. So it's unfortunate. Yeah, we haven't had Agnew for 2 weeks, but whoever we put out there, those guys have been putting in the work, and they've put in the time to get better at those things, and they've shown it day in and day out at practice. We just have to execute better.
So he was limited, I guess, yesterday in practice, but he was back.
Yes, sir.
Feel good about him for this weekend?
I mean, he's progressing in the right way. We'll see how the rest of the week goes, but he had a good day of work yesterday.
When you go back and watch the tape on those knuckleballs, where it's just credit to Carolina for putting the ball. The guys who were in that position not used to catching those balls. Were they trying to run before they had it secured? Like, what did you find was the issue there?
The issue is more so just our urgency, like just seeing the ball first and then being urgent to go catch it or make the play off the bounce. This one thing too is different when the ball hits off the turf than it does off the grass. So that's all. And then the turf is different depending on where you play at. Different turf. Our turf in Mercedes-Benz maybe a little bit different than Carolina's. And it's different than our grass. So those things, us just being urgent and being detailed. And just like they hit one good ball, that's fine. We're going to swing at the next pitch. But just making sure we keep our eyes on the ball, secure the ball, so we could get vertical with the football.
How do you prep for different venues, different field of play, different bounces? How do you communicate?
We're fortunate enough here with the Falcons, we have an indoor and an outdoor. So we have turf and we have grass, so we work that on both. But to answer your first question, we do practice that all the time. Those are things that we prepare for. Because let's say you have a big return, you better believe that the next ball is probably going to be a dirty ball. For say end of half or end of game situation where they don't want you to get in the best return, you're probably going to get a ball that's like a knuckleball to try to throw off the time. And also too, guys, that counts as hang time. Because the coverage team can't leave until the ball touches the ground or it's caught. So if you put the ball on the ground, now those guys could cover a little bit faster and get downfield a little bit faster.
Could you educate us a little bit? Like I think I noticed one time, like ball landed in the zone, went to the end zone, so you go to the 20 compared to the 35. Like how do those things play effect in some of the decision making the guys have back there?
Yes. So like the ball's in the air, and like let's say you touch the ball while the ball's in the air, and you're in the landing zone inside the 20, and then the ball goes in the end zone. The momentum of the ball, and you take a knee, that ball goes to the 20. But if the ball's in the air, lands in the end zone, or you catch it in the end zone, you take a knee. That's a major touchback, we call it, and that's a 35. So just making the right decisions when it comes to how far I am in the end zone. Sometimes you might get a bad ball, and you get to go back to the end zone, and like that serves no purpose to take it out because you may only get to like the 10 or the 8-yard line. So just take the touchback, get the ball to 20, and it will live the fight another down.
Was the 20-yard touchback a thing last year?
Yes, it was. We actually had that versus Las Vegas last year.
Okay.
And we've done it a couple of times too, last year and this year.
What did you see in all the blocks last weekend? Field goal blocks.
Just great strain, great execution, great effort. Physicality, and I believe great plays are made from great effort. So credits to all those teams out there, the scheme, the athletes, the players, just putting going out there and playing with great effort and getting their hands on the ball.
And Washington returners, they got Debo back there at some time, and McCaffrey. How do you approach the returners?
They have two really good kickoff returners, and Jay Lane is the punt returner. All three of those guys do a great job of being fearless with the ball, getting vertical, breaking arm tackle. So it's critical that our kick and coverage work together this week to make sure we try to control field position.
I talked to JD after the game. He's like, "Hey, we learning on these kickoffs that you gotta hold them blocks a little bit longer and so forth." So. And he was really breaking it down that, what they got to do, how it's becoming clearer on how to do these things on the kickoff. Are you feeling that the guys are picking up on that? Hey, this is a wholly new play, and we have to attack it this way.
Oh yeah, the whole league is taking that way. It ends up being a longer play when it comes to sustaining your block. Before you would run back for 25 yards, and then by the time you made your block, you're blocking maybe for 2 seconds. This one you may be blocking for 4 seconds, 5 seconds, depending on how long the play is and what the return is. So the play ends up being a little bit longer blocking, but less running. So that's everybody's adapting to it and adjusting to it and trying to figure out the best way to go about it.
What is it about the dynamic kickoff that brings the knuckleball into play as opposed to the old version?
I think if you kicked a 4-2 hang time kickoff and you're running from the old kickoff, your coverage team will usually be inside the 30-yard line if you caught it at the 5. Now, if you hit that same football and you catch it at the 5-yard line, the coverage team's at the 40-yard line. So it's 10 yards of space. So how do you get that space back? You put the ball on the ground or somebody drops the ball, and then now they're able to react and they're able to steal yards coverage-wise to put them in a better position like the old kickoff rule. So that's kind of where it's coming from.
Can Bradley kick it that way?
All of our guys can kick it that way. Yep.
Talk about the week of practice. Just trying to, you flushed it behind you. How's the week going?
It's going really well. We're out here putting in work and building on things we did well and trying to, we looked hard in the mirror, the things we didn't do so well, and fixing those things. So we're working hard right now.
You look at that last game against Washington, obviously not so much Jaden playing or not, but just kind of look back at that film.
Definitely, 100%. You got to look at it, see what, how did they beat us? How did they, what did they try to attack us with when they had success? What did they do? Obviously, there's differences in our teams. You can't take it verbatim, but you can get an idea from it.
How do you kind of approach a week when you're not sure who's going to be back to play quarterback?
Just prepare. It can be either of them. And one of the cool things is they're both really athletic. They both got great arms, and obviously Jaden's a special young player. If he's up, then we versed him last year, go out and get some stops. And we're versing Marcus. He's also a special player, go out and get some stops.
You guys kind of look at this last week, too. Something you put behind you. The defense did its job, obviously, at the point thing. But how do you feel where the defense is at right now? You guys feel you're kind of on the same page?
Yeah, I do. I think we're on the same page. I think there's a lot of room for growth still, but I'm also excited for what we've put on film for 3 weeks. And can it be better? Yes. But am I proud of it? Yes, I am.
Kaden, as a fan, it's early on. I know it's not your side of the ball. You see a coaching change or a coach dismiss this early on. What does it say so long?
At the end of the day, you just got to trust Raw, Terry, and them. You just got to trust them. It is what it is, and you don't want to see part of your family leave. It is what it is. Sad. You don't want it, but you got to trust your guys up top and trust them to make the right decision for the team.
Is that something you express to that receiver room when those guys are young, so they probably never experienced anything like this? So as leadership, what do you tell those guys?
I think they've got some good old heads in there, and obviously they know the situation better than probably anybody. So, trust Jamal, trust Mooney. Some of those guys have been around the league to kind of help handle that, and if they need anything, I'm always there for them. But I don't want to overstep either.
What stands out when you go on that Washington game?
What'd you say?
What stands out when you go on the Washington game?
Yeah, I think last week, they came out with Marcus, and they had 13 basically triple option going on. So, it's in Kingsbury playbook, and he brought it out last week, and I'm sure it's not going to be the same thing. I'm sure he's going to bring out something just as, with as much variation this week. So just be ready to play.
What kind of challenges does Debo's present?
Yeah, he's a tough tackle. He's can run receiver routes, but when he catches the ball, he's more like a running back. So he's a great player, and he's got to populate the ball when he's got it, and when it's your turn to tackle him, take your shot and make it.
And you said obviously bouncing back this week. What are those things in practice, tangible things you can actually focus on to do?
Yeah, kind of talk about it like execution, effort, and energy, right? Always bring your energy. No matter what, run to that ball, show your effort. And then each play is, are you doing your 1/11th? Are you doing your part, your job to execute? And if we all do that, doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. There's going to be mistakes. but you're able to go and fix it up pretty easily, keep moving forward.
Is it more important with the bye week next week? You kind of get that bad taste out of your mouth going into a break. You're not going to play for a couple weeks.
Yeah, I think obviously there's 17 of them on the schedule, and everyone's probably equally as important. But when you got a bye week next week, you want to feel good in the bye week. So let's go get this win.
Big game this weekend. Who you got?
Roll Tide, of course. Got Alabama all the way.
A little different from last year. Said this, you guys doing anything different, anything special amongst yourselves?
I'll probably just bring some jerseys in here. For any of the guys that want to take a bet up with me, I'll bring a number 2 jersey in here for J-Walk. It's first time Alabama recently going to Georgia, so I think it'll be a good environment, be a good game. But I still got Alabama always.
I guess sorry, I wasn't ready for it, man. I didn't even bring it out. I guess just for, that's pretty good for college. I guess bouncing back from last Sunday to this Sunday, what are those things in practice that you can actually tangibly focus on to get back right?
I feel like there's definitely, especially coming off a loss like that. It's, everybody looks in the mirror and evaluates things that they can do better on and off the field, whether that's, things that we can, our looks and things like that to own on the field, or as just, preparing our bodies off the field, for a 4-quarter game. We had a good game with this team last year. Looking forward to a good game as well this week. And, just, putting last week in the past, it's things that we look back for and, we continue to, address and, get better from, but, not dwelling on it, just looking forward to, how we can improve and be better this week.
And what do you see from Washington, their offensive game?
They have 2 very similar quarterbacks, 2 very good quarterbacks, 2 experienced quarterbacks at this point, in Mariota and Daniels. And, all just about, just playing, with all 11, because they have mobile guys. So, it's definitely going to take all 11 of us out there on the field.
What do you see from Debo?
Just things that, that he's been putting on tape since he's been in the league. Just a hard tackle. He does some good things for them on offense as a mover. And, he's definitely a good guy that we have to, contain in the return game as well. So, it's still the same Debo that I think guys in the NFL are accustomed to.